All right, guys, we're here at California Extreme 2023 in the heart of Santa Clara, California.
Yep.
And Shilluminatis came through together once again to run Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, which just happened yesterday. And we're back for day 2, technically day 3, right? Is it day 3?
No, it's day 2. There's only 2 days, but
Okay.
first day they had set up.
Yeah, first day. I guess the exclusive people get to come on Fridays.
Yeah.
So we might be kind of exclusive. So we just did the tournament yesterday. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good about the way the tournament ran.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't have any footage.
We didn't get to do this, so
Yeah,
now
yeah.
we're kind of like retroactively.
retroactively doing it. But anyways, the tournament ran very smooth. We had almost 25 people signed up or something, and we had some secret players popping out of nowhere.
Yeah.
El Cubano's Loco.
You know what it is? NorCal just has all the legendary players, and I'm wondering if California Extreme is aware that there's like a very competitive, culture for competitive, fighting games, basically, right?
Right.
I think they're more aware of the pinball experts, which we kind of want to find out about. We want to learn more about.
Right. We only know about these fighting games, but we don't know about the rest of the stuff going on here.
We got to do the Will Smith, right? So we had a lot of hyper fighting yesterday, but yeah, we're gonna walk around, hopefully interview a couple of people and find out.
Get some history on the pinball stuff.
Yeah, find out why people come to CAX every year and why you should also. Oh, look at that machine.
Just a little bit of history on CAX itself. We wanted to get a little bit of history. So CAX has been running for a long time now. I think pretty well over a decade. But we're going to talk to, I guess, the runners of the event, and then we'll find out more about this event. So so the stuff doesn't get lost. And people remember about all the great stuff that.
Yeah, we gotta keep the history alive. So on that note, we'll run around and hopefully get some good interviews in.
Yeah, follow us. Yeah, over here we got some of these older Robotrons. This is a classic. I had a lot of people request for to play into this game. A lot of people like this game. Back in the, I want to say the early 80s. And of course, the 90s classic Ninja Turtles, 4-player Ninja Turtle action. This is the first game. They actually have 2 of these games. Ninja Turtles and Turtles in Time. So the arcade game is great, but I'm a little biased. I think the Super Nintendo version of the game is a little better. They improved upon the hitboxes. Like when you're hitting the enemies in this game, it feels kind of weird on arcade, but it's still a great arcade game, definitely. 90s classic.
Yeah, good collection of, wow, look at these. That's nice. This is awesome.
Zaxxon, another classic. Oh, a mini NBA Jam.
We got those.
I forgot how fast it was when they're on turbo.
Oh, they got the Mortal Kombat 2 in the back. Check it out.
Oh yeah.
Now watch this shot though.
Classic.
Oh, I got deflected. Hold on.
We're actually controlling it?
Yeah, I mean, I just had a 3-pointer a second ago.
Oh, look at this. 90s Godzilla pinball machine with Matthew Broderick. Remember the Matthew Broderick movie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Guns N' Roses. Shout out to Axl Rose.
Oh, they got the Dr. Pepper game. I don't know if it's really Dr. Pepper, but I had to have a 2 in it because it's for the Lord, Galaga 88.
Galaga 88, I guess it's
My dad will body anybody in this game.
Narc, another classic. We got all the classic arcade games.
We should.
Oh, I think I know this.
We should try this one out real quick.
What is it? Golden? It's not Golden Tee. This is PGA Tour golf.
This is the first fighting game, isn't it?
The first fighting game, Karate Champ. Where it all started.
First fighting game of all time.
The most balanced fighter you'll ever find.
I mean, it can't get more balanced than this.
Yeah, you want balance. You want game balance. Everybody's talking about game balance. This game.
All right, let's go.
Red or white?
Where are the buttons? Where are the buttons?
This is how you play, man. Didn't you watch Bloodsport? This is how you play.
Got him. Yes.
Yo, you won?
I used to have this game on NES, or I played it on NES. I thought it was like the most fun thing because it's hilarious. Because the controls are so jank, and when you hit somebody, like, dude, it's like so great.
Is that even me? I don't know if it's me.
Why is she so angry?
Like when you do like a jump kick, like we didn't know how to jump kick. That was like the most powerful move.
Let's see. What's the command list? You need to move with this and attack with that.
No, this is move. This is attack. This is like the hurt box. Check out these sticks. Just sticks.
Wow, look at this.
Yeah, you can stick it out.
Oh, hit the balls. How do you pronounce that game?
I don't know.
Yo, you down to play some Six? Who's down to play some Six? Dude, that's crazy. I'd be creeped out.
Oh, look, Space Ace, one of the early CD games. Real-time RTA, whatever, real-time action.
Oh, they got cartoons.
Yeah, this game's actually, I have no idea how to play these games. You have to press the button at the exact time or else you die. So you just kind of memorize when you gotta press the stuff.
Well, how do you skip this?
Yeah, right there, yeah, you died because you didn't go to that block over there. You gotta go to the block. Right there.
Wait, what?
I know, these games don't make sense, man. Look, you gotta go to the block.
Wait, what do I need to do?
You gotta move over.
Oh.
See, there you go.
Energize. Where's the energize button?
I don't know. Oh no, you just died again.
I thought it was like a cutscene. I didn't realize.
No, the whole game's like this.
Oh, no. All right, guys, so we're here at California Dream 2023. Hopefully we can be heard well. Joined by Colin here. Of course, Colin, if you recall in our various email chains, I'm Rizwan. We ran our Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting tournament yesterday. So just wanted to check in, see how your weekend's going so far here.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was an awesome weekend. It was really busy yesterday, but I think a lot of people had a great time. And tournament it's really great for everybody to participate in. And thank you for coming in at the last minute.
Yeah, no, of course. And like tournament aside, there's like a ton of things that are happening here. And what we wanted to do is be able to figure out, you know, when did CAC start? Why did it start? Why is this still going, right? Like there's a lot of history behind this scene and kind of wanted your input on that.
Okay, yeah, this is the 27th year of California Extreme. So we've been started in San Jose. It used to be at the Santana Row Mall, and so it was before that was demolished. And so it just came from a love of the game for a handful of people. A couple of them here aren't able to work at the show anymore, but it's been passed on for a couple decades now. And it's just for the love of the game. People bring everything that they own, all the pinballs and arcades. They just volunteer to put them here for people to play.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting subculture because like we come from competitive fighting games. I know that we have some competitive like pinball players here. We have the creator of Qbert like right over there. Right. So like it all kind of meshes together, and I think CAX is pretty much the home of anything you could throw a quarter in. Yeah, right? This is true. Like the place you want to be, and it's been going on for 27 years. Where do you see its future going?
Oh wow, yeah, I want to see it to continue with the old classic games that are really rare and hard to find, and that's what a lot of people gratefully bring over here to the show. As games evolve, we got a lot of cool arcade ones like the Killer Queen and the multiplayer video games. Video arcades are great, so I think that's what I'd like to continue to see happening here.
Yeah, I think like it's really important to preserve, these machines for its future. People to realize that this is how we used to kind of interact back in the day, right? I mean, you went to an arcade, you didn't know the games. You had, some loose change in your pockets, and you threw them in, and you made friends. So just like seeing all these machines here today, I'm just like, man, this is super cool because it's not just like people brought them here. People have been protecting them, you know, and caring for them. It's like caring for a vintage car.
It's true.
And so, like, I'm not as knowledgeable on what it takes to save and like keep up with these machines, but what do you think they'll look like a decade, 2 decades from now? Like, you know, as far as like upkeeping with maintaining these.
Oh yeah, maintenance for the old ones that get worn down because they are played here sometimes is it's a little tricky at times, but I think for generally the most part is a lot of the components and the little parts are reusable and pretty common enough these days that I think they're able to keep them up and maintained.
And let's say, like, I don't know, suddenly myself or Jason here are like, you know what, we want to learn more about, you know, vintage arcades and where we can get them or maintain them or read up about them, read up on the people who have been preserving these. Like, where does one go for that kind of education?
Wow, that's a great question.
Because we don't want to keep it secret, of course. We want the world to know about this stuff. So.
Definitely. I would say that really depends on your region. I would look on Facebook groups and also search for like a Bay Area here for arcade games, and we have pinball leagues and stuff everywhere around the country and the world actually. So yeah, that's the best I could say. You search online for those kind of things.
I mean, with any like kind of a subculture, I mean, gaming is huge and gaming is evolving. It is something much different than what it was in my childhood. Let's take it a different direction. What's your favorite part about California Extreme?
Oh man,
and you can't say being at the info booth and meeting everyone, take care of it. That one will, you know.
Yeah, not sure. I do appreciate seeing the joy in people's faces who come here, and like I saw some gentleman who has not played his arcade favorite, Crazy Climber, in decades, and it's here from his childhood, and he'll get to relive that again for the first time. So that just joy in their faces is fantastic for me.
Yeah, we should mention, of course, like once you get your admission to California Extreme, everything's on free play. The only real rule is that, you know, you're just mindful of how long you're on the machine and giving everyone a fair chance, which is great. Like, people are looking around after, you know, they've finished their pinball and like, yeah, you want to jump on, and it's cool games. It's a good place to interact, and I've seen people of all ages, all backgrounds here. Like, gaming is universal for everybody, so I think that's awesome. What's next year looking like for you?
Next year, it's great that the attendance has really grown since COVID, and we're going really strong this year, and so we just want to hope to continue with that and have more and more games and more attendees keep coming.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely be in attendance ourselves next year, you know, supporting the fighting game community because everyone loves some Street Fighter. Yeah. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting is America's game after all, so what better place to do it than here at California Extreme? Yeah. That said, any last words, any parting words from you, Mr. Colin?
Oh, well, thank you for everybody attending, and if you're interested, please check out our website, caextreme.org, and thank you very much for coming here.
Cool. All right.
So y'all also got these swag stores over here.
Nice little gaming goods here.
So Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Shout out to the GOAT.
Shout out to Kyokuji, the machine.
Oh, hold on, we got the Elvis. I gotta do it one time. I gotta do the. Tapper is also a pretty competitive game. Like at one of the free play, maybe Richardson, the players there have like the world record or something. Yeah, Tapper is a pretty popular competitive game for a high score.
What's Billy Mitchell's high score?
Forget that guy. Oh man, this is the game we gotta play though.
Here it is. Check it out.
I need to do it for the seashells.
Demolition Man, the pinball game.
Fighting Game Central coming up. to get like separate videos of all this stuff to send it to specific people, but dude, Killer Instinct and Primal Rage, classic.
Yo, this is Primal Rage 2. I've actually never seen this game in person. I've only seen the first game. So in this game, like, you actually control humans that turn into, or like gods that turn into the dinosaurs.
Oh, this is a prototype version.
I have never seen this game in person. This is awesome. Primal Rage 2. It's a rare, rare game. The Diablo. Keena's a new character. I don't know this one. Well, you can start off as a dinosaur? I thought you had to start off as the person. Oh, there you go. That's how you turn into Talon. She turns into Talon. Yo, this guy knows how to play the game. Also, get a load of these controls. It's 4 buttons. Well, actually 6 buttons. 6 buttons for this game. I didn't even know. 6 buttons for Primal Rage 2. So what did you think about Primal Rage 2? That game?
Justin Wong, eat your heart out. I downloaded that game in like 5 seconds. I almost figured it out. Oh, look at that.
There you go, the classic.
The buttons are...
Yeah, we don't like the American controls.
Oh, nah, new challengers, bro? Come on.
Yeah,
now.
new challengers. The history of Street Fighter. Hyper fighting.
Yo,
new
James
challengers.
Goddard, I see you.
New challengers. Going back to ST.
The James Goddard collection right here.
So at the music rhythm gaming section of the hall, these are a little newer games. I think they're very popular nowadays, the rhythm games. But it all started down here with these games. DDR, look at that. DDR Max. Back in the 90s or early 2000s actually. Early 2000s DDR started coming. And again, DDR has a very competitive community. And very competitive players that have their own machines at home.
These are games I wish I was good at. I want to be good at rhythm games. CBS 2.
Wow, this is turned off. It was on yesterday.
It was on yesterday.
So these Net Cities, my goal, if I could, is get a couple of these Net City machines. Because the CBS 2 looks so great on these machines, like the monitors.
Well, not only that, you can stand and play. That's kind of cool.
It's in a weird position, this one, because you can't really sit down because it's too high, and you can't really stand because it's too low. It's got like the Goldilocks syndrome. I don't know who designed it.
You need to be in the Goldilocks zone to play it.
That machine here was there here last year. And that was like the only game that I played because that was all they had. They didn't have the rest of the machines. So up here we have some candy cabs with hyper fighting in here. This is where we ran the tournament yesterday. Unfortunately, we don't have any video footage of the tournament. So we got more head-to-head, 3 head-to-head versus cities, and now we got a head-to-head Blast City with running CBS 2. Bunch of Blast Cities over here. We got some people playing some Bust-A-Move. And your classic shoot-em-ups, vertical shoot-em-up. And up here, we're moving forward in time to some Helixes.
Check it out. They used to have those in Chinatown.
This game is actually kind of fun.
Superheroes.
You gotta act like
That's
you're
what the
on,
CBS 2 machine was at Chinatown.
train cars. Oh yeah, with the stand there, yeah. You need 2 people.
You can be my why is this side P1? What do you do? Let's go.
This game is actually kind of fun. You gotta act like
I gotta get the stone.
train cars. Get yourself going. So the fun of the game is to pump to get yourself to go. You need 2 people to jump over it.
You can be my what do? You just go like that. All right, guys, we are here at California Extreme 2023. I am Riz, and joining us we have
Chris, Pinball Pirate. Pinball Pirate.
Pinball Pirate.
We do sales and repair of Stern and Jersey Jack pinball machines.
Nice.
We repair all pinball machines.
How does one get into that?
You get into it, you enter an arcade, you play games, you don't leave. After a while, they notice you're not leaving, they hand you a bottle of Windex and tell you to get to work. They figure you're there all day anyway, they might as well pay you and get some work out of you. So,
when did you start getting into the pinball world?
But yeah, you start getting into it as soon as you're tall enough to see over the front of a pinball machine. Before that, you're playing like the bowling game, where the ball bowlers from the late 60s, where it's this low and as a 3-year-old you can play it. But yeah, once you're tall enough to see what's going on, you go, wait a minute, there's something exciting going on here, and you want to play it. The time I was born coincided with probably the biggest boom, one of the biggest booms anyway in all of pinball history, the mid to late 70s. And so you had this multi-million-dollar industry just working as hard as it could to please you and figure out what you wanted. So yeah, that was an exciting thing for a kid at the time.
So pinball machines were kind of just everywhere at one time, right? Like
they were everywhere. Yeah, they were in bowling alleys, and they were in bars, and just anywhere where somebody thought you could put it there and people would put quarters in. They were everywhere for a while, yes.
So what made someone determine, like, this is a good machine versus that one? Like, this game is great. Like, what made someone want to really pump quarters into one pinball machine versus another?
Well, one versus another is just, all games are different. Like, why do people go to see one movie versus another? Or, why do they like one song? If you knew the exact answer, you'd just make every game a hit. You'd have cracked the magic formula, right? Nobody can do that. Some people do it more at a higher percentage than others, but there are things that people like, and you don't always know what they are, and so it's a lot of trial and error, and you hit upon some formula that works, and you milk that for all it's worth, and then you got to come up with something new. We're selling novelty in this industry, but there are certain things that obviously work better than others, and people find those out. As far as locations, that's a lot of trial and error too. You want some place that's got a bunch of people, hopefully the kind of people that play pinball, people with a little free time, a little bit of free money, and they're looking for something to pass the time. Somebody like a bar, a laundromat, bowling alley, whatever.
Yeah, and actually, we walked around and checked out all the arcades, and there's a ton of machines, right? From different, I don't know if they're different genres. Like, some of them are based on books, maybe. Some of them are based on movies, and some of them are just original ideas. Mm-hmm. Like, what genre is kind of the one that people gravitate towards most?
I don't know that there's any one. It changed throughout history, and then somebody would. Pac-Man comes out, and it wasn't an original idea at the time, but it was done better than other games that came before it, and all of a sudden people go, oh, maze games are the thing now, and then you see a bunch of those, and a lot of them suck, but there's some original ideas, and and they milk that for all it's worth, and then somebody, like fighting games came along. There were games where one player had to compete with another in some way. But we had Karate Champ was kind of a forerunner to Street Fighter, for example, but then somebody just did something a little bit better, a little bit smarter, and got everything right, so that it was a really good game. What are those things? Well, they're subtle, and I'm not going to go into them. But they struck upon a formula that now has persisted for decades, but it didn't exist before a certain time. There are genres that are sort of undefinable. They're Laserdisc games where it's essentially a choose-your-own-adventure cartoon. There are games, shoot 'em ups. If anything that moves, try and shoot it. Don't run into stuff. That's very simple, very fun. It's Eugene Jarvis. He was the designer of games. Did some, Defender and Robotron and the Cruisin' USA games, and does Raw Thrills games now. He said a game needs to be easy to figure out what you're supposed to do, and then hard to do it. And if you do that, then you're already halfway to having a pretty good game.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite game, favorite genre? I feel like you're very knowledgeable on the history of all the different games.
I can't say I have a favorite. Just there's some that I'll go and play every year, just with some old friends that you visit, kind of. I don't know if they call it your favorite. It's like, I don't know, like when you go to a place where they have some restaurant that you only see once a year sometimes, and it's like, you wouldn't say it's your favorite restaurant, but you miss it and you want to go there because you go there every time you're at this vacation spot or whatever. And it's again, they're selling novelty. If you say you like that game, you own that game, you take it home sometimes, and you realize that, like, yeah, this is a bit of novelty that's there for you to pass the time, until such time as you're tired of it, and then they come up with a new game. It's anyone who's ever bought a game for their home, for your console at home or whatever, or had one on your phone. Angry Birds, we all did it. We all got tired of it, and we moved on to something else. That's most games. Now, better games, you'll always come back to them and go, oh yeah, this was awesome, and play it again. That's how you know you have a really good game, is you can constantly revisit it after taking a break for a while, and there's still more there that it's still fun, right? It's not like, oh, I solved it, I beat it, there's nothing else for me to do. It has replayability.
Nice. And so you mentioned, you kind of grew up at the arcade. Essentially, you learned how to, as a result, repair every machine in the world. I mean, I want to say, right? Like, it sounds like, yeah, like I'm able to, if it's a pinball machine, I can fix it. That takes, years and years of experience. But what does the future of the preservation of these machines look like?
The future is bright, I'll say. There's never been more information and resources and parts available to anybody that wants to restore anything. Most of this is just due to extremely dedicated and passionate individuals who, you have somebody who liked pinball when they were a kid, but now they work for a company that does vacuum forming. And oh, I know how this works. I know how this ramp is made. And I'm going to take the time to actually make a die so that the world can have this ramp again, because they break, right? There's people making play fields. It's sort of one of the most insane things that you thought nobody would ever make, because the amount of work that goes into that. And to get it right, and to get the artwork exactly right, and the colors right, and just all the colored inserts, the right shape, size, and everything perfect. It's like such a complicated, expensive thing. It was thought that nobody's ever going to reproduce those. Well, there's people making them right and left, and they're for sale. And once you have that, what else is there? There's even injection molded parts. People are, some of those you can 3D print, but there's people either dusting off existing dies that somebody had laying in a barn somewhere, or making them from scratch, making lost dies to make. And these are expensive dies to make an injection molded part, and there's people making them. Like, once you make those things, what else? Everything else is easy.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned that the resources are out there. There's just like a lot that you can go into. If you want to be a little more specific, like where can I go online and learn more about, saving pinball machines and the competitive side of it, or just where we can, meet and make more friends within that space?
Most major metropolitan areas have something called a pinball map, where you can go, oh, this is the Bay Area pinball map, and it'll tell you, here's where all the machines are. You can comment on them and say, whether the local operator takes good care of them. It tells you what machines are there. You can go there, you can meet the other pinball people. A lot of them they'll have organized tournaments or leagues, if you want that. As far as learning to repair stuff, there's a wealth of information online. Google pinball repair and then narrow it down to what you're focusing on. I have a Williams System 6 pinball. Okay, here's everything you probably ever needed to know about that, and then some, all in one handy document. The other thing I'll mention is, earlier I mentioned reproduction parts. Those are just things, nuts and bolts type things you need to physically put a game back into one piece. The other side of that would be electronic things, which are a whole nother department. But there's people making those. Like, there's these custom chips that some games used, and what are we going to do? Like, even dedicated, enthusiastic hobbyists who work for an electronics company can't get a custom chip made like that, but they can see how that chip works. They can put its functionality into smaller programmable chips and stick them all on a little board that plugs into where that custom chip went, and we can keep some of these things running that that you thought nobody was going to be able to solve once those chips were dead. So.
Yeah, it's awesome that it's all really just hobbyists that are coming together to make sure that the generation after and the generation after has that foundation to keep everything alive from the beginning.
Yeah, and one of my things is like, well, the generations after, will they care? Right? Is that they're going to have their own games that they want to restore. It's everyone, and you see this sort of first harmonic of nostalgia that kicks in about 20, 30 years in, where the people start valuing the things from their kid. They get to a point in their life where they have enough disposable income to get some of the things they wanted when they were a kid and couldn't have, whatever it is, and those games become the desirable ones. But then a whole nother generation comes up, and they want their things, and and the older people are trying to, come on, no, play my game. You know, look, it's fun.
We can absolutely relate coming from a Street Fighter background.
Yeah, Street Fighter, like this, like I don't value Street Fighter much at all, right? Because that game came out right as the point where I was getting onto the other side of the coin slot, so to speak, where it was no longer like, oh boy, I want to play this. It was like, this game makes money, and I'm going to put it in this 7-Eleven because I'm now looking at those stores. This is a very popular game. I don't have to like it. The kids have to like it, and so I'm going to put that there. I can appreciate it. You know, I can do a few of the moves. I can do the 100-hand slap.
We'll have to do a match after this one.
Yeah, you know, but I'm not good at it by any means. I never learned it, you know, to any real extent. But it's like people younger than me were the ones that really appreciate it in general, and then the people that came after that are going to want something else, and they're going to roll their eyes at us when we talk about how great Street Fighter was. That's just the natural order of things.
We have kids, and I the exact same experience is happening.
Yeah, like, no, that's
trying
stupid.
to tell my kids, look at the Street Fighter, how great it is, and the eyeballs.
Minecraft.
Yes, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with Minecraft. It's, you know, it's something I would have probably pumped hours and hours and hours into that if I was born today. It's exactly the kind of thing I'd be into. So.
All right, well, just to start wrapping it up, like, what would you say the significance of California Extreme is?
I've never thought about it philosophically. It started. It's, you know, what is it now? This 27th year, I think. Yeah. It was. There was an arcade that was closing down, and a couple of people saw an opportunity. Ken Chaney and TJ Byer primarily said, "Hey, we could like put on a show here. We got this space for a few more months, and like we could leave some of the games that haven't left. We can bring some of our collection, put it in there, and just have a show since the rent's paid, and you could talk to them and get the whole story." But anyway, yeah, it was, you know, it was kind of a kludgy, cobbled together thing, but it was cool enough that they said, let's do that again. Like, well, maybe we'll make it an annual thing or something.
That's how it starts.
And it grew into this thing that's gotten more and more organized and bigger. And, you know, you have manufacturers that send representatives now, and you have hobbyists showing off some custom thing they built. You have vendors hawking their wares in there. You have probably over 500 machines here to play. You know, going back, I'm trying to think, what's the oldest game on the floor right now? I know there's games at least from the late 40s in there. There's a Shoot the Bear in there, so it might be the oldest one, but there's
the oldest coin-operated game.
I've been in my booth most of the week. I haven't run around the floor looking at stuff as much as I should. Although I come every year, I kind of know what's out here by now. But there's always something you haven't seen if you look around.
All right, and I guess just what are you looking forward to apart from, I know you're managing your booth here. We'll get some pictures over there soon, but you know, what are you hoping to make time for before this weekend is out?
Before the weekend is out, I guess I'd like to play Venom. It's Stern's newest game, and amazingly, despite the fact that we, you know, had been storing these machines leading up to the show, I didn't even get to see one until 2 days ago when we took one out of the box. And I only played one very briefly earlier today when I had to fix a minor glitch on one, or just to say, yes, okay, it's fixed. But I didn't sit down and say, okay, I'm now going to play Venom for fun. And I'm looking forward to that. So.
Yeah, I was actually asking Jason, our cameraman here, like, why are there so many Venom machines? There's something that we're missing. But
there's always more of the newest title. It's the one people want to play because they played last year's title at last year's show, and there's shorter wait lines for those. But when you have that many people want to play something, you try to bring more of those. And we have 18 of them here, which is a record for us personally to have brought that many. So yeah, at least the lines are shorter. You don't have to wait long to get on one with that many. But that's why.
And I like how you prioritize. We have to fix this first so that others can play. I'll make my time later.
Yeah. No, I mean, the whole point is that people have fun with the games. Everything you got to keep it running. Because if you have a room with 10 games, you're going to have something you can tinker with. You'll find, I mean, especially you have these older games. The new games, not as much of a problem. Older games, yeah, if you collect 30-year-old pinball machines, 50-year-old pinball machines, there's always something you can tweak or adjust.
Cool. All right, well, any last words from you, Chris, before we head off into the sunset and get some games in?
Yeah, if you have time, come down to California Extreme and play some games. And we'll see you next year if you can't make it here this time.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for your time. It's Riz signing out. Take care.